Ha-Ren woke up before dawn like she did every day for the past 5 years. The New Dawn Orphanage never slept. 347 children needed her care, and she would not let them down. She walked through the quiet halls of the big building. Her feet made soft sounds on the metal floors. Outside the windows, the red sun of Kepler 442b was starting to rise. This planet was far from Earth, but it was home now. "Miss Ha-Ren," a small voice called out. Little Sujin ran down the hall with her arms open wide. Ha-Ren picked up the 6-year-old girl and held her tight. "Good morning, sunshine," Ha-Ren said with a smile. "Did you sleep well?" "I had a bad dream again," Sujin said. "The monsters came back." Ha-Ren's heart hurt. So many of these children had lost their parents during the great exodus from Earth. They all had bad dreams. They all needed love. "The monsters are not real, little one," Ha-Ren said softly. "You are safe here. I will always keep you safe." But deep down, Ha-Ren knew the monsters were real. They just looked different than the ones in children's dreams. The Vorthak Consortium had been pushing humans out of space for months. These aliens thought humans were too weak, too emotional, too stupid to live among the stars. They called humans primitives and upstarts who did not belong in civilized space. Ha-Ren had been a soldier once before she became a caretaker. She knew what war looked like. She could see it coming. At the colony's command center, Commander Rex stared at his screens. Bad news kept coming in. Vorthak ships were moving toward their system. Lots of ships. Big ships. "How many?" Rex asked his officer. 12 dreadnoughts, sir, plus support ships. We count at least 50 vessels total." Rex felt sick. He only had 3 destroyers and a handful of smaller ships. The humans on Kepler 442b had no chance in a straight fight. "Send a message to all human settlements," Rex said. "Tell them to get ready for evacuation, just in case." The message came 3 hours later. A cold voice spoke across all communication channels. "I am Admiral Thexron of the Vorthak Consortium. You humans have 72 hours to leave this system. Take your ships and go back to wherever you came from. If you do not leave, we will show you why primitives have no place among the stars." Quan, the colony's chief administrator, tried to stay calm. He had been a diplomat on Earth before the Exodus. He knew how to talk to aliens, how to find peaceful solutions. "Open a channel to the Vorthak fleet," Quan ordered. "Admiral Thexron," Quan said when the alien's face appeared on screen. The Vorthak looked like a giant insect with too many arms and cold black eyes. "We are peaceful settlers. We have families here, children. Surely we can find a way to share this system." Thexron's laugh sounded like breaking glass. "Humans always beg, always think words can save them. Your children mean nothing to us, your families mean nothing. You have 72 hours. The channel went dead. Quan sent messages to every corner of known space. He called the Galactic Council, the trade unions, even neutral species that had no love for humans. He begged for help, for intervention, for anything. The responses were all the same. Silence. Humanity stood alone. Rex worked day and night to prepare his small fleet. His ships were fast but not strong. He could maybe save some of the colonists if he positioned his forces just right, but he could not save everyone. "Sir," his weapons officer said, "if we focus on protecting the main settlements, we might be able to evacuate most of the population." "Do it," Rex said. "Civilian lives come first." At the orphanage, Ha-Ren gathered the older children. She told them they might need to leave soon. She did not tell them why. "Where will we go?" asked Minsu, a 12-year-old boy who always asked too many questions. "Somewhere safe," Ha-Ren lied. She did not know where they would go. She did not know if anywhere was safe anymore. The attack came on the second day. Rex's ships moved to defend the main colony when the Vorthak fleet arrived. He expected them to target the spaceport, the government buildings, the military base. Instead, the Vorthak ships turned their weapons on schools and hospitals. "What are they doing?" Rex's officer shouted. "Those are civilian targets." Rex understood. The Vorthak were not here to fight soldiers. They were here to break human spirits. They wanted to show that humans were too weak to protect even their own children. The first bombs fell on Central Hospital. 300 people died in seconds. The second wave hit Roosevelt Elementary School. 200 children and teachers vanished in fire and smoke. Harin saw the explosions from the orphanage windows. She knew what was coming next. "Everyone to the shelter!" she screamed. "Now! Move! Move!" The children ran as fast as they could. Harin counted heads as they went down the stairs. 347, all here, all safe for now. But the shelter was too small for everyone. Harin made the older children go first, then the smaller ones. Some would have to stay in the main building. "Miss Harin," Sujin said, "I'm scared." "I know, baby," Harin said. "Stay close to me." The Vorthak ship appeared over the orphanage like a metal mountain. Its weapons charged with a sound like thunder. Harin looked at the children who could not fit in the shelter. 23 little faces looked back at her. They trusted her. They believed she would keep them safe. She had promised them she would, always keep them safe. Harin spread her arms wide and stood in front of the children. If the Vorthak wanted to kill innocents, they would have to go through her first. The beam came down like white fire. Harin felt no pain. She only had time for one last thought. At least the children would not be alone. The New Dawn Orphanage disappeared in light and heat. 347 children. Gone. Harin, who had loved them like her own. Gone. The Vorthak ships moved on to their next target, leaving only burning ground where hope used to live. Far away on a research station at the edge of known space, Jin Ha received the message. His sister Ha-Rin was dead. All the children she cared for were dead. Murdered by aliens who thought human lives meant nothing. Jin Ha sat in his small room and stared at the message for a long time. He felt something break inside his chest. Not just sadness. Something deeper. Something dangerous. He opened his communication system and sent one message to every human in the galaxy. They want to see what monsters look like. Let's show them. The war for humanity's soul was about to begin. The news spread like fire through human space. Every colony, every station, every ship heard the same terrible story. The Vorthak had murdered children. 347 innocent souls, burned alive just to make a point. Jake Morrison sat in his office on Luna Station, reading report after report. He was the head of human military intelligence and he had seen many wars. But this was different. This was personal. "Sir?" his assistant said. "The recruitment numbers are coming in." Jake looked at the data and felt his blood turn cold. Not because the numbers were low, because they were impossible. On Mars, 50,000 volunteers in one day. On Europa, 30,000. On the frontier colonies, every single adult human had signed up for military service. "This can't be right," Jake said. "We checked 3 times, sir. It's right. And sir, it's not just adults. Children are trying to enlist too. 12-year-olds lying about their age. Teachers quitting their jobs to become soldiers. Doctors leaving hospitals to design weapons." Jake stood up and walked to his window. He could see Earth in the distance, blue and beautiful. Humanity's first home. Maybe their last, if this went wrong. "They woke something up," Jake said quietly. "Something that should have stayed sleeping." On New Geneva Colony, Jin Ha packed his research equipment. He had been studying deep space anomalies for 15 years. Quiet work. Safe work. Now his sister was dead and quiet work felt like betrayal. His communication device beeped. A message from Earth Central Command. "Dr. Jin Ha, we need you for Protocol Lazarus. Top secret. Come home immediately." Jin Ha had never heard of Protocol Lazarus, but he knew what it meant when the military called scientists home during wartime. They wanted to build something terrible. Good. Terrible was exactly what he wanted to build. Rex stood before the United Human Assembly on Earth. Every human world was connected to this meeting. Billions of faces looked at him through screens, waiting for answers. "The Vorthak think they know us," Rex said. They think we are weak because we build schools instead of weapons. They think we are cowards because we save lives instead of taking them. They are wrong. The crowd was silent. Rex could feel their anger, their pain, their hunger for justice. We will show them what humans become when you murder our children. We will show them what monsters really look like. The crowd erupted in cheers. Not happy cheers. Dark cheers. The sound of a species choosing war. Quan watched the assembly from his new office. His title was now War Coordinator instead of Diplomat. He did not like the change, but he understood it. A message came in from the Galactic Council. They wanted to talk. They wanted to mediate. They wanted humanity to be reasonable. Quan sent back one line. You stood silent while they killed our children. Your mediation is worthless. He deleted their contact information from his files. Some bridges were meant to burn. In the deep labs under Luna Station, Jinha met with other scientists. Physicists who used to study stars now worked on planet crackers. Biologists who saved endangered species now created viruses that could wipe out worlds. Engineers who built playgrounds now designed warships. What are we building? Asked Dr. Park, a woman who used to make medicine for sick children. Whatever it takes, Jinha answered. The first sign that humans had changed came 3 weeks later. A Vorthak patrol fleet was moving through the Centauri system. 12 ships on a routine mission. They sent their daily report at 800 hours. They never sent another one. Admiral Thexeron stared at his screens in confusion. Where are they? He asked his officers. Unknown, sir. No distress signals, no wreckage, no energy signatures. They just stopped existing. Ships don't just disappear. These did, sir. What Thexeron did not know was that humans had been busy, very busy. Jake Morrison's people had spent 20 years looking weak and scared, but they had also been watching, learning, copying alien technology and making it better. Human ships were no longer the slow, clumsy vessels the aliens remembered. They were faster now, quieter, and they carried weapons that broke several galactic warfare laws. Not that humans cared about galactic laws anymore. Rex commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled. 500 ships, all built in secret over the past month. The galaxy thought it took humans years to build a single destroyer. They were wrong. It took years when humans were being careful. It took weeks when humans stopped caring about safety regulations. Target acquired. His weapons, officer reported. Vorthak supply convoy, 6 ships. Do we take prisoners, sir? Asked another officer. Rex thought about Harin. About 347 children who would never grow up. No prisoners, he said. The convoy lasted 30 seconds. But before they died, the Vorthak crew saw something that made them scream. Their cargo holds filled with pictures. Images of human children, the ones who died in the orphanage bombing. Each picture had the same message written underneath. We remember. The survivors from the convoy's escort ships carried that message back to Vorthak space. They told stories of human ships that moved like ghosts and struck like lightning. Ships that didn't just kill you. They made sure you knew why you were dying. On the Vorthak homeworld, civilians began to ask questions. Why were humans so angry? What had their military done? The government tried to control the information, but humans had been busy there too. Jake Morrison's agents had spent decades infiltrating alien societies. Not to spy, to learn how to think like aliens, how to predict them, how to become them when necessary. Now those agents activated. Vorthak communication networks began showing footage from the orphanage bombing, over and over. Every screen, every device, every communication channel showed human children dying. The message was clear. This is why they hate you. This is what you did. Admiral Thexeron called for reinforcements, but something strange was happening to his supply lines. Food shipments spoiled mysteriously. Weapons malfunctioned. Communication systems played recordings of children crying instead of tactical reports. What are they doing to us? He asked his staff. Psychological warfare, sir, but like nothing we've seen before. What the Vorthak did not understand was that humans had studied every alien species in the galaxy. They knew how Vorthak minds worked. They knew their fears, their weaknesses, their breaking points, and they were methodically exploiting every single one. The Galactic Council finally took action when human ships appeared in orbit around their capital world. Not attacking, just watching. Waiting. Council leader Vexthara sent a message to Earth. This aggression must stop immediately. Submit to mediation or face the consequences. Quan's reply became famous across the galaxy. Look at your screens. Counselor. Look at what orbits your world. We are the consequences now. The human ships didn't leave. They just hung there in space like metal vultures, reminding everyone that humanity was no longer asking for permission. On Vorthak Prime, Admiral Thexron faced the truth he had been avoiding. The primitives he thought he could easily crush had vanished. In their place was something new. Something that fought with a cold intelligence that made his species look like children playing with toys. "Sir," his aide said, "our outer colonies are requesting emergency evacuation. They say human ships are just appearing, not attacking yet, just watching." "How many colonies?" "All of them, sir." Thexron realized that he had made the worst mistake in galactic history. He had attacked a species that thought protecting children was more important than protecting themselves. Now he was going to learn what happened when those children died. The sleeping giant was awake, and it was very, very angry. Admiral Thexron stood in his command center, watching his empire crumble. 3 more colonies had gone silent in the past day. No explosions, no battles. They just stopped talking. "Send scouts to the Helix colony," he ordered. "Sir, we sent scouts. Yesterday they never came back. Then send more." "Sir, we don't have any left." Thexron felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Real, cold fear that made his many arms shake. The scouts never returned because Jinha was waiting for them. His team called themselves Ghost Protocol now. 12 humans in ships that shouldn't exist. Ships that could hide from any sensor, move without leaving traces, and strike without warning. But Jinha didn't just destroy the Vorthak scouts. He captured them. The alien prisoners woke up in a white room with no windows. On the walls were pictures, hundreds of pictures. All of human children. All of the ones who died in the orphanage bombing. "Do you know their names?" Jinha asked the lead pilot. The Vorthak made clicking sounds that meant confusion. Names? They were just humans. Jinha walked closer. His face was calm, but his eyes were like ice. "This is Sujin. She was 6 years old. She liked to draw pictures of flowers. This is Minsu. He was 12. He wanted to be a doctor when he grew up. This is Young-hee. She was 4. She still sucked her thumb when she was scared." The Vorthak pilot tried to look away, but Jinha grabbed his head and forced him to look at the pictures. "I want you to remember their faces. I want you to dream about them, because they are why you're going to die." But Jinha didn't kill the pilot. That would have been too easy. Instead, he sent him back to Vorthak space with a message burned into his mind. Every time the alien closed his eyes, he saw the children's faces. Every time he tried to sleep, he heard them crying. The message spread through the Vorthak military like a disease. Soldiers who captured humans found themselves haunted by the faces of dead children. Officers who ordered attacks on human colonies woke up screaming from nightmares. "What are they doing to us?" Admiral Thexron demanded. His science officer was shaking. "They're not just fighting us, sir. They're teaching us to feel guilt. They're making us understand what we did." "Impossible. We are Vorthak. We do not feel guilt. Tell that to the pilots who refuse to fly missions anymore. Tell that to the soldiers who see dead human children in every shadow." On Earth, the Galactic Council finally sent an official delegation. They arrived in their biggest ship, wearing their fanciest clothes, ready to demand that humanity stop their illegal aggression. Quan met them at the spaceport. He wore a simple black uniform with one decoration, a pin showing Haran holding a human child. Counselor Vexthara, Quan said politely. Welcome to Earth. This war must end immediately, the alien diplomat declared. Submit to our authority, and we will negotiate peace. Quan smiled. It was not a nice smile. Follow me, he said. He led them to the Memorial Hall, a new building in the center of Geneva. Inside were 347 stars, each one burning for a child who died on Kepler 442b. These are the people your mediation failed to protect, Quan said. Every star represents a child murdered while you stayed silent. Tell me, Counselor, what would you negotiate for them? The alien delegation had no answer. The rules of this galaxy are simple, Quan continued. The strong decide who lives and dies. The weak suffer in silence. You taught us these rules when you ignored our cries for help. We have learned them very well. But surely you can be reasonable. Reasonable. Quan's voice turned cold. Was it reasonable to bomb an orphanage? Was it reasonable to ignore our pleas for help? You created these rules. We are simply better at playing by them than you expected. The delegation left Earth that same day. They never came back. Rex stood on the bridge of the human flagship Haren's Promise. Around him, the largest human fleet in history prepared for battle. 600 ships, all built in secret, all carrying weapons that violated every treaty in galactic history. Target confirmed, his weapons officer reported. Vorthak Prime Defense Fleet, 80 ships. Good odds, Rex said. We outnumber them, 8-1. Sir, they're requesting communication. Admiral Thexron's face appeared on screen. He looked older than before. Scared. Commander Rex, the alien said. We can negotiate. Surely there is something we can... Do you remember the orphanage? Rex interrupted. The what? The New Dawn Orphanage. 347 children. You bombed them to make a point. Do you remember? Thexron's eyes shifted. That was military necessity. Civilian casualties happen in war. I see. Rex turned to his crew. No prisoners. No surrender accepted. Send them to meet the children they murdered. The battle lasted 6 minutes. Human ships moved like living things, using tactics no alien had ever seen. They didn't fight in formation. They didn't follow rules. They fought like animals protecting their young. When it was over, the Vorthak defense fleet was gone. But Rex wasn't finished. All ships target the moon, he ordered. Sir? His weapons officer asked. Their moon. Crack it. Aim the pieces at their homeworld. Sir, that will kill billions of civilians. Rex thought about Haren. About children who died, for no reason except to prove alien superiority. Give them 1 hour to evacuate their planet, he said. 1 hour. Same amount of time they gave the orphanage. But then something unexpected happened. Jake Morrison's voice came over the communication system. Rex, this is command. New orders. Do not destroy the planet. Sir? We need them alive. All of them, the children especially. Rex was confused. Why? Because dead Vorthak can't learn, and we have a lot to teach them. On Vorthak Prime, panic filled the streets. Every screen, every communication device showed the same image. Vorthak ships attacking the human orphanage. Over and over. The children, dying. Haren trying to protect them with her own body. Vorthak civilians saw their own military committing murder. They saw innocent children burning alive. For the first time in their species' history, they felt shame. Turn it off. Admiral Thexron screamed at his technicians. We can't, sir. The humans have control of everything. Every system, every network, every device. They want us to see what we did. In the streets, young Vorthak began to protest. They held signs with pictures of human children. They demanded answers from their government. Why did you kill them? They asked. They were just babies. Why? The Vorthak government tried to maintain order, but their own people were turning against them. The images of dead human children had broken something inside their society. Jinha watched from orbit as the alien homeworld tore itself apart with guilt and shame. It would have been easier to just destroy them. But that wasn't what Harren would have wanted. His sister had spent her life protecting children. She wouldn't want him to create more orphans, even alien ones. "Sir," his second-in-command said. "What are our orders?" Jinha looked at the pictures of his sister and the children she died protecting. Then he looked at the alien world below, where families were learning what humans felt when they lost their young. "We wait," he said. "We let them think about what they've done, and when they're ready to surrender, we teach them a better way to live." The galaxy's deadliest predators had become its teachers, and the lesson was just beginning. The Vorthak homeworld burned, but not from human weapons. It burned from the rage of its own people. Admiral Thexron watched from his command bunker as riots filled the streets. His own citizens carried pictures of dead human children. They demanded answers. "They demanded justice, sir," his aide whispered. "The Third Fleet is refusing orders. They say they won't fight humans anymore." "Cowards," Thexron spat. "No, sir. They saw the footage. They know what we did to those children. They're not cowards, they're ashamed." Above the planet, Jinha's ships waited. They didn't attack. They didn't need to. The Vorthak were destroying themselves with guilt. But Jinha had more work too. His Ghost Protocol team had been busy across Vorthak space. Every military base, every government building, every communication center now broadcast the same message 24 hours a day: the faces of 347 murdered children. But this wasn't random terrorism. This was surgical precision. Jinha didn't target civilians. He targeted the leaders who made the choice to bomb an orphanage. He targeted the officers who carried out the order. He targeted everyone who thought killing human children was acceptable. On the mining world of Kepler-7, Vorthak General Hexthul tried to rally his troops. "These humans are weak," he shouted. "They hide behind the memory of dead children. We are Vorthak. We are strong." His soldiers stared at him with empty eyes. For 3 days, they had seen nothing but images of the orphanage bombing. They had watched human children die over and over. They had seen Hareen sacrifice herself to protect them. "General," one soldier said quietly, "those children were innocent. They were human," Hexthul replied. "That made them our enemies." The soldier dropped his weapon, then another, then another. Soon the entire battalion was walking away. Hexthul found himself alone with his hatred. That night, Jinha visited him personally. The Vorthak general woke up in a white room. On the walls were pictures, just like his captured pilots had described. 347 human children, all smiling, all innocent, all dead. "Do you know why you're here?" Jinha asked. "To kill me, I assume." "No," Jinha said simply. "To educate you." For the next week, Jinha showed the general video recordings from the orphanage. Not just the bombing, but the days before. He showed Harren reading stories to the children. He showed them playing games, laughing, learning to read. "This is Sujin," Jinha said, pointing to a little girl with bright eyes. "She wanted to be a teacher when she grew up. She died holding her favorite book." The general tried to look away. "This is Min-Su. He was scared of thunderstorms, but he always protected the younger children when they were afraid." Day after day, Jinha told the stories of every child who died. Not as statistics or casualties, but as individuals. As people with dreams and fears and hopes. By the end of the week, General Hexthul was crying. "What do you want from me?" he whispered. "I want you to understand," Jinha said. "I want you to carry this knowledge back to your people. I want you to tell them what it means to murder innocents." On Earth, the Galactic Council made one last desperate attempt to stop humanity's advance. They sent their largest fleet to blockade the Sol system. Quan met their ships with a single human destroyer. "This is Admiral Zexkaran of the Galactic Council fleet," came the transmission. "Surrender immediately or face the consequences." "This is Administrator Quan of Earth," came the reply. "Look behind you." The alien admiral turned his sensors around and felt his blood freeze. 1,000 human ships had appeared from nowhere, surrounding his fleet completely. "How is this possible?" Zexkaran whispered. "We've been watching you for decades," Quan said calmly. "Learning from you. Studying you. becoming better than you. Did you think we spent all those years being peaceful because we were weak? We were peaceful because we chose to be. That choice is no longer available. But you can't have built so many ships so quickly. You're right. We built them years ago. We've been ready for this war since the day humans first left Earth. We just hoped we'd never need them. The Galactic Council fleet retreated without firing a shot. On Vorthak Prime, Admiral Thexron faced the final collapse of his authority. His government was in hiding. His military refused to follow orders. His people demanded he surrender to the humans. But Thexron had one last card to play. Open a channel to the human fleet, he ordered. Rex's face appeared on screen, calm and cold. Admiral, Thexron said. I have a proposition. We have captured human civilians from other systems. Hostages. Withdraw your forces or we execute them all. Rex was quiet for a long moment. How many hostages? He asked. 50,000, Thexron lied. He actually had maybe 500, but Rex didn't need to know that. I see, Rex said. And you think this will save you? It will make you think twice about... Rex cut him off. No, Admiral. It will make you extinct. The channel went dead. Within hours, Jin Ha's people had located every Vorthak prison and detention center. They found the human hostages. Not 50,000, but 532 civilians captured during the early days of the conflict. The rescue was swift and brutal. No Vorthak guards survived. But the human prisoners were treated gently, carefully like precious treasure. How did you find us so fast? One rescued human asked. We never stopped looking, Jin Ha replied. Admiral Thexron received a message from the human fleet. We found your hostages. All of them. They are safe. You are not. That same day, every Vorthak military installation in the galaxy went silent. Not destroyed, simply taken over. Human forces appeared everywhere at once as if they had been waiting in the shadows for years, which they had been. Jake Morrison's intelligence network had spent decades infiltrating every major alien civilization. Not to conquer them, but to understand them, to learn their weaknesses, their fears, their breaking points. Now that knowledge was being used to systematically dismantle the Vorthak war machine. Sir, Jake's aide reported. Vorthak resistance has collapsed across all fronts. Their colonies are surrendering without fight. Casualties? Jake asked. Minimal on both sides. Most Vorthak forces are simply laying down their weapons when they see our ships. Jake nodded. This was better than genocide. This was transformation. On Vorthak Prime, young aliens held vigils for the human children who died in the orphanage bombing. They lit candles and left flowers at makeshift memorials. They sang songs of sorrow and regret. Their parents watched in amazement. The Vorthak had never shown grief for alien deaths before. They had never cared about the suffering of other species. The images of dead human children had changed them. Admiral Thexron sat alone in his bunker, watching his civilization transform itself. His people were becoming something new, something better, something more like humans. Sir, his last loyal aide said, the humans are requesting a meeting. They want to discuss terms. Terms? Thexron laughed bitterly. What terms could there be? They've won completely. Actually, sir, they're not demanding surrender. They're offering something else. What? Redemption. They bombed a human orphanage, so we made them confront annihilation. Part 5. The New Galactic Order. Admiral Thexron walked into the meeting room with shaking hands. He expected to face human generals demanding his surrender. Instead, he found a simple table with 2 chairs and a human woman wearing civilian clothes. I am Dr. Sarah Chen, she said in perfect Vorthak language. I used to run schools before the war. Please, sit. Thexron was confused. Where are your military leaders? Your demands for surrender? We don't want your surrender, Admiral. We want your help. Dr. Chen placed a tablet on the table. It showed construction plans for a massive space station. This is New Dawn Station, she explained. We're building it from the wreckage of your war fleet. It will be a school. A place where children from every species can learn together. I don't understand. Your people bombed an orphanage. They killed children to make a point about strength. We're going to show the galaxy what real strength looks like. Thexron stared at the plans. You're building a school? With our destroyed ships? Your ships killed children. Now they'll protect children instead. Every Vorthak weapon will become a classroom. Every missile will become a playground. We're not just defeating you, Admiral. We're redeeming you. 6 months later, Jinha stood in the memorial garden of New Dawn Station. 347 stars burned eternal in the darkness of space. Each star carried the name of a child who died on Kepler 442b. But Jinha was not alone. Beside him stood Kexthul, a young Vorthak who had joined the construction crew building the station. "Tell me about your sister," the alien asked quietly. Jinha smiled sadly. "Harin was the kindest person I ever knew. She could make any child smile, even the ones who had lost everything. She died protecting them because that's who she was." "I'm sorry," Kexthul said. "My people, we didn't understand what we were destroying. You understand now, that's what matters." Around them, the station bustled with activity. Human children played with young Vorthak. Teachers from a dozen species worked together to build classrooms. Former soldiers from both sides worked side by side, turning weapons of war into tools of learning. Rex walked through the station's corridors, still wearing his military uniform but now carrying school supplies instead of weapons. He stopped at a classroom where human and Vorthak children sat together, learning about the war that had brought their species together. "And why did the humans fight so hard?" the teacher asked. A small Vorthak raised her hand. "Because we hurt their children, and humans protect children above everything else." "That's right," the teacher said. "And what did the humans do after they won?" A human boy answered, "They forgave us. They helped us become better." Rex nodded and continued walking. This was better than any victory celebration. On Earth, Quan stood before the newly reformed Galactic Council, but the meeting was different now. Humans didn't sit in the back asking for permission. They sat at the head of the table leading the discussion. "The Harin Doctrine is now galactic law," Quan announced. "Any species, government, or organization that deliberately targets civilian populations, especially children, forfeits their right to exist peacefully in this galaxy." The alien representatives listened in respectful silence. They had all seen what happened to the Vorthak. They had no desire to test human resolve. "Who will enforce this doctrine?" asked Counselor Vexithara. "We will," Quan said simply. "Humanity accepts the responsibility of protecting the innocent throughout the galaxy. We didn't seek this role, but you forced it upon us when you stood silent while children died. And if we object?" Quan gestured toward the window, where human warships orbited the Council world, not as invaders but as guardians. "You're welcome to try," he said with a cold smile. Jake Morrison sat in his new office, reading intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Human agents were no longer hiding in alien societies. They were openly working to improve them. On Centauri Prime, humans had helped the native species eliminate poverty. On Beta Reticuli, human doctors had cured a plague that had killed millions. On Kepler 186f, human engineers had built cities that worked with nature instead of destroying it. "Sir," his aide reported, "the Zephyrian Empire is requesting human assistance. Pirates have been attacking their merchant ships." "Send the fourth fleet," Jake ordered. "Full protection protocols." "Yes, sir. Should we demand payment?" Jake thought about Harin and the children she died protecting. "No payment needed. Protecting innocence is what we do now." The Zephyrian pirates learned the same lesson the Vorthak had learned. When you threaten innocent lives, humans appear. And humans are very, very good at stopping threats permanently. Admiral Thexron, now working as a teacher on New Dawn Station, watched his former enemies with amazement. Every day he saw humans doing impossible things. Not because they had superior technology or larger armies, but because they refused to accept that evil was inevitable. A human child named David was being bullied by older alien students. In Vorthak culture, this would be ignored. The weak deserved whatever happened to them. But human children didn't think that way. They banded together to protect David. They included him in their games. They made sure he was never alone. Why? Thexron asked Jinha. Why do you protect even those who cannot protect themselves? Because that's what Ha-Rin would do, Jinha replied. She taught me that strength means nothing if you don't use it to help others. But surely there are limits. Surely you don't protect everyone. Jinha looked at the children playing together. Human, Vorthak, Zephyrian, and a dozen other species all laughing and learning as one. Name someone we shouldn't protect, he said. Thexron tried to think of an answer. He couldn't find one. On the anniversary of the orphanage bombing, the entire galaxy observed a moment of silence. Not because they were forced to, but because they chose to. The images of those 347 children had changed how every species thought about innocent life. In the memorial garden of New Dawn Station, thousands gathered to remember. Humans and Vorthak stood together. Former enemies now worked as friends to build a better galaxy. Ha-Rin's sacrifice had done more than start a war. It had ended the age of casual cruelty that had defined galactic civilization for millennia. Jinha placed a flower by his sister's memorial star and whispered, "You would be proud, Ha-Rin. We didn't just remember the children. We made sure no children would be forgotten again." Above them, human warships patrolled the stars, not as conquerors but as guardians. The sight of those vessels had become a symbol of hope throughout the galaxy. When human ships appeared, it meant someone cared about protecting the innocent. The galaxy had learned what it truly meant to be human, to refuse to accept that evil was normal, to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves, and to turn enemies into friends through the power of redemption. Humanity's name was no longer forgotten. It was spoken with reverence by those they protected and remembered with respect by those who had learned to be better. They had bombed a human orphanage. Humanity had made them confront not just annihilation, but transformation. And in the end, that transformation had saved them all. The children's sacrifice had given birth to a galaxy where no child would ever be alone, afraid, or forgotten again. That was the most human victory of all.